What if you could travel to parallel worlds? The same year, the same Earth, only different dimensions. A world where the Russians rule America. Or where your dreams of being superstar came true. Or where San Francisco was a maximum security prison. My friends and I found the gateway. Now the problem is finding a way back home.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another exciting episode of Circling the Vortex. That's right, this is episode 9 in which we look at episode 10 of season 1 of Sliders, which is actually the series finale. Who thought we were going to get to that? I know I didn't. And as always, I am joined by my co-hosts, Nathan, coming to us from a world in which we've somehow reached the end of season 1 of Sliders. What's that all about?
It's uncanny. It's like this world, except we were dead all along.
Did I hear an echo? No, that's just because we've done this intro once already, but due to technical reasons, we are doing it all over again. And how does that make you feel, Kurt, coming from a world in which podcasts are the only form of entertainment that exists, and ours is still not listened to by anybody?
It makes the cinema experience very interesting.
So this is a big room with a huge screen with nothing on it.
Yeah,
and you just listen to stuff.
It's just dark, yeah.
It's just dark.
It's a dark room.
Dark room where everybody sits naked listening to podcasts. I added the naked.
I was going to say nothing about nakedness.
I think that just makes it more fun. Well, we're all naked right now, so I mean, that's how we always podcast.
Note to the public, I am not naked. I'd just like to point that out there. I am fully clothed.
Nathan's weird that way. But yeah, we've accepted his differences amongst us here.
He's a never nude.
So
I am not sans clothes.
As is something I've noticed that sometimes we've had a few to drink when we watch some of these episodes and stuff, and we get a bit loose. And I'm caressing people's feet right now on the table, which is definitely erotic. But I think we're all riding a bit of an adrenaline high there after watching the exciting finale to the season 1. That's pretty good.
I really enjoyed it.
It was a good episode.
Still
really
beating.
enjoyed it, yeah.
That was a cool episode. So, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything. We'll go through it now. But I know you wanted a cliffhanger, Nate. We talked about that on the previous episode a couple of weeks ago. And you certainly got that.
I was not disappointed.
Who wants to start the recap and get us into the setup?
You've got to do this. I think you really enjoyed this one, so you should go.
I did, but it was the intro was like the most boring part of the episode.
Yeah.
Because it introduces a new thing, which they then drop very, very quickly.
Yeah, which you mentioned as we were watching at the end, and it was like, oh yeah, that didn't ever come back.
So obviously the standard thing, they jump in, blah blah blah. A dog walks up to Wade. Oh, a dog.
For some reason, this dog really likes them as well.
Cut. Well, it doesn't cut. It feels like a natural cut, but then her diary kicks in. Like I'm keeping a journal. It's been 18 hours, and it's a utopia. And we know it's been a time lapse because she now has a bandana.
Yeah, so Pirate Wade begins to take note.
Oh, I really wanted that. I really hope we get a Pirate Wade, like a proper Pirate Wade now.
Well, hopefully. So Pirate Wade makes a note that there's great prices. Everyone seems content. I think Otoro drops his wallet and some kid
going to
gives
buy
it back.
some super cheap veg. Like, I've dropped my wallet.
Yeah. And then some kid hands it back. Was it cars don't need keys?
Well, there are like public cars
Public
that are like
cars.
left, like, I don't know, like we have bike shares now and stuff like that, and scooter things, but like that. But obviously, really ahead of that concept, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Now that's actually quite a modern concept that actually happens. Not quite with cars, but we're getting there, sort of that level.
Oh, I wouldn't want that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, back then cars were obviously the main form of conveyance, especially around America and stuff. So to say there's free cars for people to use, it's pretty badass. That's pretty cool.
There was a slight hint to some of the weirdness of this world when they look up and they see a billboard for birth control in a can.
BC Cola.
Yeah, BC
Birth
Cola.
Control Cola.
Yeah, so this world is definitely, I mean, there's like, we get the impression that there's not a lot of people. It's like there's a small town vibe to San Francisco they mentioned early on, and we start to slowly unravel the details of this world. And to be honest, this is one of the most fleshed out worlds I think we've seen in season 1.
Yeah,
They
definitely.
actually really go into quite a lot of the specifics of what makes this world different and why and how it's sort of been brought to that aspect and stuff. And then, of course, the downsides of that, which I think is really interesting. Yeah, and dealt with very even-handedly. I mean, especially once we get the revelation of the negative, even Arturo sort of steps in and defends it. Because it's like, actually, this isn't necessarily a bad thing, you know? So I think it's good. So carry on with the recap so we can get to that stuff.
I think they keep looking around and then they come across a special ATM.
Yes.
Lottery ATM. Go on if you want to continue.
Oh, too kind. So they ask a couple sort of randos, like, oh, how does this work? And like, oh, well, you know, just take as much as you want.
You have to put your hand on, look up at a camera, say your name, where you're staying or your address, and how much money you'd
And
like.
like, you know, the more you take, the more chances to win. And Rembrandt's like, more chances? Oh, brilliant. Rembrandt Brown, Motel 12, room 12, $5,000, please. And it comes out neat with the little wrapper and all the notes.
Yep.
Arturo takes out $5. Well, no, but he does say, you know, you don't ever get anything for free. There's always something.
Yeah, I mean, even
There's
then,
always a price.
Arturo's saying there's going to be a reason that
Bearing
this
in
is
mind
happening.
this is like very cheap, he probably only needs $5. Really.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
the thing, right? So Rembrandt, what he's done there is just giving to his greed, like the aspect
Yeah.
of free money, and it's not really doesn't give a shit. But then Wade then goes in after Arturo and takes out 1,000.
Yeah.
Which again is way more than she needs, and she gets a bit carried away in the moment and stuff, and is actually
Quinn
quite.
doesn't take any of that.
Quinn doesn't take a dime. No, Quinn doesn't need to. His friends have just taken all the money, so why would he need to?
Yeah, but he does also seem a bit suspicious.
Yes,
as well.
Yes, he's wearing a pretty permanent scowl
What was it
throughout
called
this
in
episode.
This episode?
Sorry.
What was it called in this episode?
Cue ball, eye rolling cue ball or something. Because what was it we called him?
I can't remember now.
Rolling cue ball, I think it was.
Yes, it's just got that permanent like, oh really?
Eye rolls.
Incredulous. I called him incredulous Quinn.
That was it.
Incredulous Quinn.
he's
the
just
phrase.
he's just always like, oh no, you guys are all so stupid all the time. It's really hard keeping up with how dumb you all are. Like he does own that quite a lot in this episode. And to be fair, he is 100% on the money. Intentional pun there. Considering that's the biggest problem, and he definitely senses the issues that are to come. He does not give in to this utopian world. We get horse riding, we get fishing in the park.
Before that, I was going to say, next it cuts to the park where they do like a nice filter on the camera works, make it all look nice.
Soft focus.
Soft focus.
Warm glow and stuff, yeah.
They start to flick through some books. They notice there's only 500 million people on the planet.
Yeah.
And they think it's all to do with the population control, like potentially in the can or something. Then you said they do a bit of fishing, and then Wade
Horse ride.
Wade and Quinn go for a horse ride, which somehow Quinn doesn't see the branch in front
That
of him.
very cliche, right
cliche.
across the face, branch rolls into
I think,
a
do you know what
tree.
should have been a real indicator of this is how we say more aggressive forms of population control, is that when they went and got the horses for the horse ride, nobody gave them any freaking helmets. So it's like, as someone who has some experience horse riding, you wouldn't get me on a horse without a helmet. Those things are big. You just fall off of one of them and you're going to hurt yourself, right? Let alone ride into a branch and get totally wiped out. I mean, he goes down like a sack of poo.
And then begins maximum Wade watch this episode.
Oh,
there is so much
there is
Wade
some
watch.
Sexual tension rippling off the pair of them. Definitely off of her more than him, as always.
So yeah, she crops him up against a log, begins to pat the
Dabs
jam.
his
Yeah,
wound.
dabs the
I
jam.
mean, smears the blood around his forehead, basically.
Not
but-
blood, more like jam,
Yeah.
but that's fine.
Yeah.
And then we get an amazing line. She's
Go
like, oh, you know, we're going from this world. Oh, but we're ignoring the issue. What's that? And she's, we're one another's world. With Arturo and Rembrandt.
I mean,
adds them in as well.
I mean, it's weird because you get the look from Quinn is, yeah, I suppose I'm going to have to settle. And the look from her is more along the lines of, I'm gonna be with my soulmate. And it's so lopsided, like the tension, the sexual desire of these two. I mean, I think that might just be because Jerry O'Connell can't do that in his acting repertoire. He doesn't have the depth to like show like sizzling sexual tension. And this in Sabrina Lloyd though as well, she's actually pretty decent at that sort of stuff. She can give the subtext with the eyes and the look and the delivery and stuff. Whereas he just sort of goes, oh okay, it's okay. It's kind of the look you get from him, Simple Simon style.
If you're listening, Jerry, I think you can act. Just put that out there.
Hey, I think
Love
he's
you,
good.
Jerry.
I think he's really good at the moderate action stuff they ask him to do.
Moderate action.
I mean, it's never full-on action. It's like run with conviction. He does that quite well. And he also does the I'm, incredulous, smartest guy in the room thing very well.
He's really good at walking and making his hair bounce.
Yes,
Really good.
He is. Those curtains really do flop pretty well. Like, they do look good.
So good.
But yeah, I mean, so we have that going on. We have Arturo failing to fish as an Englishman, which I do find offensive as a stereotype, because let's be honest, most Englishmen can fish quite well. You guys fish?
I've done it once in my life.
Once? Okay, I'll take that. Nathan?
I can pick one up at Sainsbury's pretty cheap.
That's. I've done various forms of fishing in my life. I actually quite like a bit of fish. It's a very relaxing pastime. I actually really dug that little thing. I was like, yeah, guys, no. That's a nice thing to do in the afternoon. You've got a lovely little sunshine there. I don't know why Arturo tries to fly fish in that small pond. It's the wrong rod choice for the environment, but that's fine.
Here we go, bringing out your secret fishing knowledge. Here we go.
But no, I just thought
Big
it was
Bass Ben.
Big Bass Ben.
Big Bass Ben.
That's me. That's me. Deep sea fisherman. That's what I'm all about. Yeah.
Just don't do that sponge fishing. That's dangerous.
I do avoid the sponge fishing, mate. I don't want to end up like Remy Part 1. That's not good. That's not good. No, I thought it was a nice scene. There's a good joke. It plays back later when they go back to the motel, which has, it turns out, silver platters and really good provide like cooking elements and stuff like that for them to whip up a beautiful fish dinner that Remy turns out can cook. Pretty good, it seems, which is good. I'm glad to see he's a
lemons
talented
and everything
man.
on the fish. Like,
Yeah.
they really went to town on it.
Guess who caught this one?
And that's when we are watching the TV and we get the lottery results. And lo and behold, Wade is a winner. Which she's obviously
the first
overjoyed
winner
about.
picked is Julianne, who Rembrandt immediately like, oh, she's pretty and she's got the money now.
Remy gets a lot of the romance subplots.
Yeah.
Like, he's probably had a romance subplot in more than half the episodes of season 1, I think it's fair to say.
And
Yeah.
they're all really bad.
They're all bad, they're all usually destructive.
I'll be honest, I still
They
think
all went
Arturo
badly.
has the best romance
He had that
subplot.
incredible subplot with,
That was so
with the
good.
girl he loved and died, and it was heartbreaking, and it was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, that's still the best they've done with any of those subplots. But yeah, Remy usually gets the throwaway
Falls in love
with the wrong
via
person.
TV.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the misogynistic woman. I'm thinking from that episode. I'm thinking of the
Kept man,
the high
who's the
school
returning
sweetheart who turns out to be
soldier.
horrible. Yeah, there's been a lot. There's been a lot, and then we've got another one here, doomed to fail because he falls in love with one of the lottery winners. So we find out now they actually draw out the revelation for quite a while.
Which I really
It's
like.
an end of second act revelation, which is done really well. We all know something's wrong. We all get something. They're giving these winners a credit card that has no limit. They can go into any shop and get anything they want. They're giving them millions of dollars each. They're just basically get anything their hearts desire. Nobody says no to them. Far too much
you get
for
the
nothing.
I
white
don't know
card,
why
don't
they
you?
need to win the
Money.
money if
Well-
they then get a card that gives them anything they
Well,
want for free.
I do know why, but it's a little bit of a revelation spoiler. But we'll get to. Let's just talk about the revelation right
But
now.
it will be explained.
No, but the reason is the money is something you can give to pass on to your relatives when you're dead. You can't pass on the card. So the whole point
Pass on
is
the
that
things you get from the
yeah,
card.
of course, but you're going to be able to give them money as well, which
So
is
if you think
why
about it,
you
you know,
win a
you take
monetary
out-
amount.
That's why then you get a $2 million house. Leave it to them. Beating the system.
Look at that! You're just working your way through that lottery world like a pro, Nate.
So we cut immediately to all the gang in a limo,
Living it up.
living it up, and they've. Who's the guy from the limo? It's
I
like
don't know
some
his
sort of
name.
lottery.
Just lottery man.
Lottery man.
I like to imagine it's the taxi driver driving the limo. We don't see him, but I just like to imagine it. I'll just
Yeah,
say
sure.
that.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, he's always the one. He's always the driver. Hello, guy. Where are we going? Yeah.
We've got to name this lottery man.
I can't remember the lottery man.
Don't
Just
think he
lottery
got
man.
a name,
Yeah,
did he?
I don't think he did.
No, he's just the guy who runs the lottery. Yeah.
So yeah, we start speaking to him, and he gives a whole bunch of spiel about the lottery and what you get, the white card that you can go and buy.
Playing up all the positives. Playing up all the positives. Yeah.
And she does ask, can I give my money to the poor? Which he responds with, the last poor person won the lottery 6 months ago, so there's no longer any poor people, which is kind of interesting.
I mean, once again, reinforcing that this planet, this Earth, is pretty utopia. I mean, we've got no poverty, we've got no war, there's no famine, there's really no social problems at all.
Really cheap apples.
Very cheap everything. Everybody's pretty much living a really happy life, and the main reason being that is stressed in this is that because the population is low. So how are we achieving such a low population? We've got the birth control stuff is readily available, and that's not really an issue. That's fine. But then we find out that the lottery is a form of population control. So what it is that people are voluntarily entering this lottery, knowing that they will get lots of money. They can then pass on to family and loved ones. But within about 48 hours, I think, you're dead. They kill you, and it's pleasant and nice, and it's nobody's afraid of death really in this world.
They call it
making way.
Making way.
Making way. So they actually have really, in a quite sort of, I guess you could argue, mature way, internalized and really dealt with that fear of death. And then as a whole society, that it doesn't really exist. And the implication being, this is worldwide. This is something that has literally been agreed worldwide as a policy. There's no other way you'd keep the population of the whole planet down to only 500 million unless there were aggressive forms of population control like that. We work out, they mention, I don't know if you guys got a name, this economist that came up with it.
Thomas something, like 19th century.
Yeah.
I want to say...
And basically he said, if you don't control the population, you won't ever have enough food and it'll always be and there'll be a problem. And then people listened, and then they're saying roughly 200 years ago, that's when things were put in place to keep the population limited.
There was the right for lifers.
So yeah, that's the counterpart, that the lottery is evil and that it's wrong. But to be honest, other than the perspective of our sliders, I'm not sure if you lived on that world, you'd agree with that. I mean, they make a point at one point, doesn't he? Quinn says when he comes in with this information, these are people who've won Nobel Prizes and scientists and like religious leaders who are saying it's bad. They're not just whack jobs that are against it. However, we don't really ever see their side of it other than an angry mob, which isn't really the most sort of flattering way of seeing these guys against the lottery concept. And you look at the net benefit, which actually is something that I was mentioned earlier, that Arturo defends the concept of the lottery, because the net benefit is massive. There's no, like I mentioned, there's no war, there's no famine, there's no real societal problems. So it's an interesting one, because obviously from our sliders' perspectives, from our guys, terrifying. They've made a mistake. They've put themselves into this competition without realizing it, and now they're going to get killed because they'd be sacrificing themselves for nothing, because they're not even from that world. So 100%. But does it mean that what do you guys think? Do you think what they're doing on this earth is evil, is wrong, is bad, or is it just is that actually a sensible thing to do? If they've been doing it for 200 years and they've eradicated all these problems, is that really? Well, I mean, what are we trying? What are they trying to tell us to think about?
Side to it.
So the lottery police.
Obviously, if they subvert the lottery system or that, then they get taken to the process where they...
Oh, yeah.
What do they call it? The municipal...
Processing
plant or something.
But they pay with pain before dying.
Yeah, but I mean, I get the impression, though, that's a very rare occurrence, because if you actively take money from that lottery machine, you enter the lottery, you win the lottery... We meet two other lottery winners in this episode. Obviously, the person Rembrandt falls in love with is definitely pro-death, because she actively snitches on Rembrandt when he tries to convince her
to have a whole police service.
Do you think so?
Area.
So what the supposition there is that enough people get second thoughts after winning,
or maybe people just basically try and play the system like, I'll take out $1 million, and if they get chosen, actually, I don't want to. kind of thing.
It does. That's probably the only negative aspect is that like you can't take out the money and then go, oh, you know.
Because obviously it's chosen at random, so I can imagine there's probably a lot
Yeah,
of
but it's
people.
weighted towards the amount you take out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's still the bit like, well, I'm probably not going to win. So it'll be like, I'll just take out 10 grand a week.
But I also get the impression, societal-wise, there's the fear of death is far less. Though we do meet actually Mr. Lottery, he confesses to Arturo that he's a hypocrite because he's afraid of death. So it's clearly he hasn't come to terms with it. So
There must be a big enough subgroup who basically go along with it because they think they won't ever get picked.
I think it's interesting. It's a very nuanced world they've come up with and a very nuanced concept for this episode because it's got a lot of layers and there's actually a lot of aspects to really look at it. There's pros and there's cons and you have lots of different perspectives that are quite well fleshed out. So we also meet, the guy I'm going to refer is Ryan in Sliders, but from this point forward I will call Krychek because he's the amazing actor that played Krychek in The X-Files, which is one of the best TV villains from the 90s. Just amazing TV villain. And he plays Ryan, who is another lottery winner, who by the age of 30, I believe, had swum the English Channel, had climbed Everest, and paddled the Amazon. Is that what he said? I'm assuming that's on a boat, but like he's achieved that. So
doggy paddle.
And the last great adventure was to win the lottery and therefore find out what happens after death.
But the best prize was Wade. So
you're the best thing.
This is when we hit the B plot, which is just Wade Watch, which was great.
Wow, she's watching someone else now.
Yeah, because she tried it on in the forest.
Curtains for Jerry.
Yeah. Oh. So tried it on with Jerry. Jerry wasn't having any of it. She's gone over to this new guy Ryan.
The dark side.
They've had a bit of a thing
over in Krychek corner.
Yeah. They have a nice little moment. Yeah, and throughout the whole episode, there's kind of back and forth. Occasionally, you get hints that Quinn is arguing with Wade and doesn't like this world, even though she really loves it. And there's this whole tension. Oh no, this isn't our world. We should leave. But you get the hints that there's the whole Ryan aspect is the problem. I think at one point he actually says Ryan dobbed Remy.
Yeah.
That's the assumption. That's the assumption Quinn makes.
Because we're overlooking one very important part, where Rembrandt meets the Julianne woman.
Yes, yeah.
He's like, "Oh, you're really beautiful." Oh, it's when they're doing some shopping. It's like, "I'll get you a chair," and all this, and then they're in the middle of the winners' ball, and she just says, "Take me here."
The thing to remember here.
I love it.
This is a woman that thinks she's going to be dead the next day. Her standards are probably lower. I mean, the fact that he showed a bit of interest and she's like, oh, go on then, let's go bonk it out because...
Behind the curtain?
Why not? Because I'm dead tomorrow. She knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, but she also brings up another plot point because she's like, we can't go up to my room because the lottery police... Yeah, that's right, you heard that. The lottery police have to keep an eye on them so they don't run off or try and escape or anything. So they have to be...
Later.
Yeah.
Let's do it now.
So they go behind the curtain near the band. Get it on.
I mean, Remy he's a bit unsure, but then he's kind of just like, I'm going to roll with it, because that's what Remy does. He's good at rolling with the situation.
She must like him, because
part of his body.
Later, because he's like, oh, you can come with us. Like, we can go together and say, you'll die with me?
Yeah, and it's like, what? No. So, yeah, we fast forward a bit, and Remy is then ensnared because she dobs him in. She betrays him, tells the police about his plan to avoid death.
I do like how he's caught when the two lottery police are hiding behind the doors.
It's pretty basic policing action right there. I feel God. They do not hire good police in this show. They never give them good direction. None of them know how to hold a gun.
Wow.
Ever.
One of them does.
Shut up. Spoilers.
So he gets caught, and that leads us into the third act, kind of rushed the finale to the end point. We've got a rush for Arturo and Quinn to try and save Remy. We've got Wade hiding out in the ballroom, and then we've had a bit of some more sexual tension between her and Ryan earlier than that, and now that's the guys. Have I missed anything?
There is one thing we missed out, which is actually an important plot point. Remy tries to talk to Arturo and Quinn about bringing someone else along.
Yeah, so we get a reason that might not be a good idea, don't we?
Apparently, it's a drain on the system.
What
that is
the fudge
more
does
people
that
they
mean?
take through them drains more energy from the system.
So, okay, right.
Never
so,
referenced before.
Systems. We have the control device.
a system.
We have, could we argue, a network of interdimensional energy / portals, which you could say you
System?
could draw power from that system.
Would it-
we also
Would
have.
it drain the sliding?
We also have what is basically a nuclear reactor in Quinn's basement on Earth Prime, which the controller theoretically could still be connected to
Yep.
through some form of interdimensional spacetime. So that could be the other system. So, I mean, but none of it's really clear. None of it, I mean, that's probably been switched off by now, wouldn't it? I mean, the
Yeah.
basement. The controller's basically your TV remote. I don't think it's going to have a huge amount of power source. So I'm thinking it somehow is connected to this energy field that is the interdimensional space-time, and therefore it's drawing power directly from this quantum reality. How does that sound? Good enough for a bit of sci-fi jargon, guys?
It does sound a bit heavy,
I
but
just thought
I'm good for it.
batteries would run out. but there we
Batteries.
go.
He's got to charge his lithium ions up, mate. You know, otherwise
Yeah, mate.
they probably didn't even have that. He probably has to replace them on every Earth with a new pair of double A's.
No, it'd
mean-
be like a chunky 9-volt, I think.
A couple of C's, mate. Yeah, nice. Come on. So English. No one of our international listeners are going to have a clue what we're talking about. But anyway, so that's a thing that is sort of established, never comes back to, and actually doesn't even play into the final moments of the episode, does it? So, I mean, it seems fairly unimportant that, but we'll see if there's any ramifications in season 2.
I like to think he just made it up as a way of saying no. Like, no, it'll drain power from the system. Can't do it.
Don't want you bringing one of your floozies, Remy. You do meet one on every world. I mean, then you can't fall in love with all of them.
I like to think it's not the first time he's used that excuse either. Like, Remy's tried to bring multiple
Remy,
women.
remember the
It's draining the
system.
power, remember?
The
We can't do
system.
it.
God, just want to collect them, don't you? You weirdo. Jesus. So
I think the imagery as well in that room, the as I would call the white room that they're taking to.
Oh, when what is it? Rembrandt's going to be bonded with her forever.
Yeah.
so Death Room.
Yeah, Death Room. The white room.
It's interesting how that whole thing plays out because she's totally not afraid. She's 100% up for it. And he then stays with her when she drinks the poison a la Romeo and Juliet.
Tastes like ambrosia.
yeah.
Very, yeah.
The custard.
Yeah, just like, yeah. That's what we're referring to there, the custard, definitely. Creamy. Slightly processed.
Packet.
Packet. Is that powder or fresh? Carton or tin?
Carton.
And
I'm a tinny.
she drinks the poison and starts to immediately basically go through the sort of death process that's very much like white light. So you have to ask yourself, right, don't you? I mean, is it real? Is that how those people really experience death in this world? Because if it is, then it does seem pretty chill. Or is it the poison is laced with sort of hallucinogens
Yeah, and you're seeing
things
something.
that just completely make
I'm
you see what
pretty
you
sure
want
it's
to
going to
see?
be like 10% poison, 90% high grade LSD.
I mean, it could be something.
Like
like
she had a
that,
really
yeah.
nice one, but there's probably another guy in it who's just really scared of all the
Seeing
monkeys in his
and
chest.
mushrooms and just, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's quite possible. Maybe that's what they do at the municipal processing
Give
plant.
him a really bad,
Really bad
batch.
trips, really bad. But she has, you know, it's an interesting moment because you do see her kill herself, and you do go through that moment with them, and it's quite emotional, and especially
Yeah.
he gets carted off and they're like, she can't protect you now, you're going to the plant, ha ha ha, and they're all
Who's
horrible
that?
to him,
That's where you die.
Yeah.
except American.
Bit less Phil Mitchell.
Yeah, but you get the idea. And then so he's carted off and then begins a chase basically that Quinn and Arturo are chasing them down, and when their van gets intercepted by the angry
The
pro-life
pro-lifers.
mob, which is such a bad look for them. They really could have characterised those people
Hey,
better.
they're pro-birth control though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Birth control,
Legit.
yes.
Yeah.
It was weird. They're just hanging
Lottery?
outside the
No.
building, just screaming into megaphones.
And it's like, our friend's in there, let's get him out.
So they
and then
just
they get
rock
him
the
out.
van,
And then it's the
smash
worst
it.
getaway ever when they
They just get in a
drive
car
off.
and just drive into another car.
They don't even seem to try and avoid it. It's just like, was he not looking out the front
loads of
windshield at all?
space.
Yeah.
Just crash.
Yeah, and then they're like foot run racing now away, and then back in the
they still
ballroom.
overtake them on foot, even though they've just crashed.
Anyway, don't overthink it. Back in the ballroom, Wade's hiding out in the dark with the dog, and the dog starts barking and gives away her position. So she gets caught by the lottery police and the lottery man, and Krychek comes to the rescue.
Yeah, he does. He knocks them both out with a fire extinguisher. Yeah.
Yes. And then just in the nick of time, we've got seconds left, not 7 minutes this time.
Oh.
Seconds left on the timer. It's not always 7 minutes, strange that. And, that's when the boys show up. They're all running through. They're being chased by lottery police, who all look very, very much like beat cops. But like in a really conventional sort of police, flat capped beat cops with truncheons. And you're like, what is this? So weird. Anyway, and they're running off. But they've got like FBI types with them, haven't they? And then we, open the portal, and Krychek's going to go through with them as well, and the dog. We're getting some extra passengers.
That dog
System be
flying
damned.
through.
System be
That
damned.
has drained a lot of energy from
the system.
That dog flying through looks so funny.
It was hilarious. But the dog throughout this episode has been the star. He is adorable in every scene. He is the sweetest little
I'm
dog.
hoping he gets one of those like cast things on the intro
at the
credits.
beginning, like
Where the dog freezes at the camera and it's
Dun, 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 dun.
Henry, played by Mr. Woof.
Yeah, amazing.
Woofer, as Arturo
But
calls
first big thing there, Krychek slides with them.
he does. Yeah, comes through.
And as they're jumping through, what happens?
one of the
Somebody takes a shot at
lottery cops takes a shot.
So I'll let you guys explain what happens next.
At first we were thinking, has the bullet gone through? But it turns out the bullet had gone through Quinn just before he got through the portal,
I mean,
or the vortex. And they land on the other side. Everyone thinks they're fine. They turn to Quinn, who's standing there, who then just suddenly collapses. They go over, do the classic, move their hand, covered in blood.
again, similar to the
Wade
Q
screams.
episode where there's no injury.
Kurt, Wade doesn't
blood
scream.
on the hand.
Wade wails.
Oh!
She wails so hard.
I hate you and love you for that so much.
But and that's where season 1 of Sliders ends, on the cliffhanger of Quinn getting shot, Krychek sliding through with the gang. Now, what does that mean? I don't remember particularly what happens, and it's like I'm quite excited to see how they deal with that in season 2.
I don't remember that either.
I don't remember it at all. So I'm very curious to see what happens there, and with the dog, more importantly. We don't know what Earth they've landed on. We don't know what state Quinn's in. Who knows? It's a big cliffhanger.
Yeah, as a cliffhanger, I really like it. It's like, like you said, where are they? What's going on?
It's a
Quinn?
really good.
Does Jerry O'Connell die?
Yeah.
It's a really good final episode of that season.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the most
I've
interesting
got
Earths.
one bugbear with it.
Let me just say, I think one of the most interesting Earths. Good action,
Yeah.
good drama,
Yeah.
good character development for everyone, really. Plenty of beats. Arturo maybe gets a bit underserved in that one, but he has a couple of moments with the lottery guy, and also defending the Earth. That particular Earth I
And
thought was
fishing.
interesting. And fishing, definitely. Really strong, and obviously a really good cliffhanger. What's your problem, mate?
It's a 0 on the Gatewatch.
Oh, I know.
It is a 0 on the gate watch, but we got like 4 Wade watches this week.
Such thirst for Wade.
I've actually got one question.
Yeah, go on.
Where is the Wade of that Earth?
Where are any of them of that Earth?
Because, well, maybe not so much the other guys, but specifically
I think
Wade.
it's fair to...
As she won the lottery, wouldn't the other Wade be like,
No,
I didn't take
No,
out.
do you know why? I think it's fair to say, on a world with only 500 million people, they're just all dead. They were never born.
That's a good shout.
I think that's
That is a
probably
very
how
good
you can
shout.
explain
But
that
the
one quite
precedent
easily.
of
Yeah,
set
okay,
is
okay.
they're the most important people in every universe so far.
It does seem to happen quite often that they are somehow the linchpin of every revolution happening, yeah.
The Q, the Russian one, Crying Man World.
But I think that's the strength of this episode in a way. They are purely visitors.
Yeah.
Dealing with trying to understand this society.
Yeah.
Which seems utopia and then has issues and layers to it that are really interesting. And it's all about the 4 characters trying to come to terms with that from different angles. And I think it's
I
really
didn't even
interesting.
think of that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was just a bit like, oh, where's the Wade of that one?
I
She
just imagine never been born
Yeah.
would be my shout.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's a really good episode, really good ending to the season. and a strong enough cliffhanger to make you go, oh God, what is it coming back? Can you imagine if that was the one and only season of that, and it ended on that? It was like, oh shit, which a lot of shows did back then. Would just be cancelled and that'd be it. So yeah, I think that was cool.
There is obviously one other thing that we missed out as well, which is the Wade viewer watch.
Yeah, I suppose she looked.
Talk about that, guys.
There was a top choice when back at the motel, which was pretty scandalous, I have to say, even by crop top standards.
Yeah. There wasn't even a bra.
There wasn't much going on there at all, really.
At all.
It was
a lot of underboob.
Nearly. It was like the hint of potential underboob.
I don't know.
Perverted men, you.
Teenage me would have been having one hell of a time.
Oh, nobody wants to think about that. We just lost hundreds of viewers. Great, or listeners, I should say. But that's the end of season 1.
Yeah.
Of Sliders, and that brings us to the end of season 1 of Sliders as well, for obvious reasons, because that's how this would work.
Love it.
So I think we're coming back next time with something a little different. Season 2 will continue. I promise we'll be back for season 2, but we're going to take a little step away from Sliders.
We're gonna slide away. Oh!
So we've got a couple of ideas for a special episode or two, which I don't want to say yet what we're going to do because I don't think we've quite decided 100%. But so the next 2 will be a little bit different, but then we'll be back in about a month's time then, I would say, thinking of the time-wise, with season 2 where we'll begin into that. But yeah, that was good, man. Nathan, I mean, we'll get more into looking back at the entirety of season 1, maybe in one of these episodes. But are you good? You happy? You looking forward to more?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping we can do a podcast on our first podcast, and we can go over our first viewing of it.
Oh, it's like Inception, the podcast. That's just painful to hurt the brain.
I want
Jesus.
so many layers.
Special director's commentary edition of a podcast.
commentary.
Would that work? That couldn't work.
It would just be a mishmash of audio.
It sounds like a lot of editing. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, we don't do the editing, so it's fine.
Exactly. We want you to do the work.
Fuck you. So that's been another episode of Circling the Vortex. It's been a really good season so far. We've really enjoyed that. We're going to be back with more very soon. I have been your host, Ben, and as always, this one's been Nathan.
Look forward to joining you next time. Would you kindly?
That one's been Kurt.
Thank you very much.
And you can like and subscribe on YouTube if you're watching the waveform, which I wouldn't know why you'd do that. Obviously, you can listen on Spotify, you can listen on iTunes, you can listen using the raw RSS feed. You can find us at Experience Kills, which is kind of the overriding home of all of these. And yeah, you can find me at DIYE on Twitter if I'm pimping my own shit as we're reaching the end of season 1. But we'll be back in a couple of weeks with something a little different. So, see you all then.
What if you could travel to parallel worlds? The same year, the same Earth, only different dimensions. A world where the Russians rule America. Or where your dreams of being superstar came true. Or where San Francisco was a maximum security prison. My friends and I found the gateway. Now the problem is finding a way back home.